Good morning, happy Thanksgiving, and welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network's weekly recap, BRN Weekly, for Saturday, November 30th, 2019. This week, I sat down with Daniel Klein of The Motley Fool to dig a little bit deeper on artificial intelligence. Is it real intelligence like any sentient being would have? Let's take a look.
Artificial intelligence, we're at the sort of nascent stages of using technology to help us predict results. So a big example that's being used at about, I think it's 7,500 McDonald's, is when you pull up to the drive-thru and place your order, the board in front of you will show suggested order items based on the time of day, other people's history, the weather conditions, and a whole bunch of factors. So they're using this data to figure out, instead of just asking, would you like fries with that, maybe there's like a really good chance you'll want a shake, or people who follow your pattern always get an apple pie, so they should remind you to get an apple pie. Whatever it is, it's behind the scenes. You don't really know that it's happening. I mean, you see the result, but you don't know what's going into it. You're also seeing this at Amazon. So the Amazon local warehouses, they know that me or someone who fits my profile is going to order a box of gummy bears, some tea, and replacement razor blades 3 days from now. And that box can be picked, packed, and ready to go. That's all crunching numbers using artificial intelligence. And those are good examples of it because you as a consumer aren't thinking about it. If you went to a doctor who told you, I'm not a real person, I'm artificial intelligence, I'm going to look at your injury or your symptoms and give you a result based on that, a lot of people are going to go, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I want an actual doctor because maybe you're going to determine that I have whooping cough, and in reality, I have bronchitis. So this is starting to happen, and IBM has been a big leader in this. But it's happening in ways that you don't see. Some of it powers the driverless vehicles, where not only are they using GPS data, but they're using history and traffic and all different things. It's going to help with delivery routes. So companies are going to be able to put trucks on the road at times that are most advantageous. But we're in the very early stages of it, and most of it is an assist to humans, not a replacement for humans. I don't think we're anywhere close to the fully automated house where, look, I've been to CES a bunch of years and they show you the refrigerator that can order eggs or tell you your eggs are spoiled and order new ones and all of these different things. And the reality is we basically use our digital assistants to play music, tell us the time, and in my case, set timers in the kitchen. We aren't really using the many higher features. Like, you can use your Echo, your Amazon Echo, to make phone calls, to do all sorts of other things. Most people don't do that. So the idea that we're like 6 months away from saying, like, dishwasher, wash the dishes, stack them, please take my suit to be dry cleaned, and all of these things happen automatically, I think that sort of Jetsons like future for our home is far away. In our factories, in our stores, you're seeing more of it. A Walmart uses automated ordering, that it can see the pattern of what goes in, what goes out. It knows, oh, hey, look, just because we sold a lot of pumpkins in October, don't reorder a lot of pumpkins past November 15th. Like, it figures out all of these things. And even then, there are still humans involved in the process.
Financial advisors have typically been in the driver's seat when it comes to helping many Americans plan for their financial goals. But this week, I sat down with Angela Moore, senior editor with MarketWatch, to discuss a possible new retirement player, that of the retirement coach. Let's take a look.
You know, there's coaches for everything. You know, you've got your weight loss coach, and you've got your career coach, and you've got your personal therapist. I mean, we all need a little help here and there, I think. But, you know, one of our writers wrote this piece. It was linked to holiday giving and sort of something you can give to someone in your life. And one of these things was a retirement coach. And it really got me thinking, we spend so much time. I mean, I think about retirement all the time, but we are also hopefully all putting a little bit of money away every paycheck to fund our retirement. And again, it sort of dovetails with what we were talking about before. You get to this point and people want to make the best of it. Ideally, you want to do this right because, let's be honest, we have there's sort of that sweet spot in retirement where you've got your health and you've got a lot of people to spend time with. You want to be with your grandkids and whatever, and you don't want to kind of waste it flailing around. You want to kind of live your best life while you have the money and while you're healthy and able to. So that's kind of where a retirement coach comes in. And there's lots of different kinds of coaches, but the idea is that you find, now, does everyone need one? Maybe not, but maybe you find a person that fits with you and that you can kind of plan out a roadmap for retirement. I mean, I think it is different than a financial advisor, although financial advisors have been kind of bleeding over into this area a little bit. It's not necessarily just about, amassing the biggest pile of money you can, although that's also great. It's also about, where do you want to live? What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? And kind of thinking when it comes to Social Security claiming strategies and where you live and all these types of things. It's very intertwined. But a retirement coach would look at your finances, but they'd also look at your hobbies and your interests and volunteer opportunities around you, or part-time work, or anything that can help you build the life that you want in retirement. And I know that it's typical for a lot of retirees for the first year or two to really suffer with finding the right things to do. They watch too much TV. There's a huge spike in alcoholism and binge drinking when people first retire. And people, sort of these little gremlins that have been hiding in the past, pop to the surface because there's all this open time and people's wheels start turning. So a retirement coach can kind of really help you, live your best life or get on the right track so you're making good choices for yourself. Retirement, because we live so long now, I mean, knock on wood, but we have these long lives, and retirement can be 1/3 of your life. And you don't want to just wing it, right? You don't want to just be like, oh, I'll see what happens. I mean, seeing what happens is a fine strategy. Sometimes you don't want to plan every second, but this is like a pretty significant part of your life. It's different than maybe 40 years ago when your grandparents retired or whatever, and they retired at 65, they had their pension, and maybe they lived 10 years. Now people are living into the hundreds, so, or certainly into their 90s. By the time you get to be 65, you are probably gonna live quite a long time after that. So you want to do it with purpose.
And when we come back, everyone's heard of the 401k, but have you heard of the 457B? Stay tuned right here on BRN Weekly. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network. Welcome back. Government retirement programs go beyond just a traditional pension plan. Recently, I sat down with Sandy Blair from CalSTRS and also current president of the National Association of Government Defined Contribution Administrators about 457B retirement programs. Let's take a look.
NAGDA is an association that encompasses government plans, state, local governments, as well as industry individuals who help support these plans for our employees to participate in. So it's around the defined contribution plans, 457s more specifically, and really supporting each other to get the word out to our membership about the importance of saving additional and defined contribution plans for their retirement future. We really look at supporting each other with best practices in that industry. And, we share experiences. We have a number of different task force that individuals and committees that people can participate in, and sharing that wealth of all of that information of successes of certain plans. And so others of us can learn and leverage those successes to make our plans better. Our plans have investment advisory committees or boards that, work with us individually on our own plans so that we are fiduciaries, and so we support each other through NAGDA with best practices. Our mission really is to provide that secure retirement for our plan participants. And NAGDA is a voice for all of us to do that.
And in our last segment, I sat down with Randy Plavika from Fund Intelligence. We discussed a number of issues, including the Secure Act and its impact on annuities. But I also asked Randy to take off his reporter hat and put on his millennial hat and weigh in on sustainable investing. Let's take a look.
So within the retirement industry, ESG is definitely a trending topic. I've seen a lot of firms kind of integrate it, not so much full force, but integrate it into their marketing where they want to be pushing it, they want to be investing in it. I think right now it's pretty limited, though. We're seeing a lot more headlines and conference titles around it, which is something I've heard from my industry contacts, mainly because of fiduciary concern around retirement plans. A lot of people are kind of hesitant to bring ESG into the retirement mix,
right,
just because they're not sure if it's going to guarantee the same returns as before or what's going to happen with it. I think definitely ESG is a long-term strategy, and it is sustainable, and it makes us feel better as Americans when our money is going to places we feel more comfortable with. But obviously, if it's not returning the same as the original mix you had in your retirement portfolio, it is a bit concerning, because then it might add a year or a couple more months onto how long you have to work and invest in your retirement mix. And so there's always kind of that trade-off of I want to be sustainable, but I also want to retire on time. I hesitate to call it greenwashing, because they do have strategies that actually are ESG and sustainable. But the big difference is that the assets just aren't there right now, or they themselves are not devoting enough to it. I've spoken with a few companies that they have great European bases of operations, and they're doing a lot of effort on this front. And I would say they themselves are putting their money where their mouth is. Meanwhile, you have a few firms, smaller here, that are just kind of saying ESG is going to be a part of our mix. ESG is going to be in the fold within the coming months and years. We're just sorting out how we're going to get into it. Which is definitely, nice to know that. But at the same time, if you're just going to say ESG and not actually bring it in, it's kind of where's the action per se? And sometimes, the marketing pays off. I mean, some people think, well, they've said they're sustainable, so I'm going to trust them on that. And it turns out that, sometimes it is just a pure marketing and advertising play. And it's maybe not as strong of a dive as some of your European players that are deeply ingrained in it, and some of your US players that have really put a foot forward in that space to dig deeper into it. I think personally, from how I consume and how I kind of shape my consuming habits, I definitely value ESG, and I value it in a strategy. It's kind of nice. It's a bit of comfort knowing that your money is going to sustainable sources that are, eco-friendly. And most importantly, I think right now for me is climate change. How is it impacting the climate? How is my investment directly relating to climate change? If a company is putting a lot of work toward that, and I can see that, and it's showing not only in my underlying investment mix, but also in how they're marketing themselves. I think I'm more inclined to like that company. I might, maybe either buy into that strategy a bit more, or B, really just value that company overall, and maybe I consider other options from them as a result. So it's kind of almost like they have the chance to cross-sell me. If they have a great little ESG strategy going on, who's to say that I won't pick up another insurance policy from them, pick up an HSA, pick up a CIT, etc. So if I see the legwork going down, I myself would be more inclined to dive deeper into that company. And, I really value that in my own mix. So I would be like, definitely on board with getting more of that company that's really making a lot of legwork in ESG into my own mix. Because ultimately I want to be sustainable. And obviously I'm speaking for myself, not all millennials, but I do think that,
Sure.
Across my friend group, we definitely value more sustainability and environmentally friendly and conscious decision making, as opposed to the ways of days past where you just kind of put your money where the assets were delivering the best returns, and you didn't really pay too much attention to the underlying mix.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN Weekly. Hope you enjoyed the look back. For Retirement Week in Review, check out today's edition of the Weekly Pulse. And don't forget, we're back tomorrow with the BRN Sunday podcast, where I'm joined by members of media, academia, and financial services to discuss the issues related to retirement markets, technology, personal finance, so much more. So check that out. And we're back again Monday morning. First thing, talk about the latest news in retirement. So you check it out. So until then, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.